Okay, very good. You're still a little bit of a shadow. I don't edit these anyway either, so if you fart or anything, it's gonna be Hi, this is Gabi with the Nomadic Family, and today we have Chris from drunkcyclist.com, right?
Yes.
Oh my god, so cool. So first of all, Chris, how did you come up with this name, Drunk Cyclist? Like, that just makes me very curious.
Just a bunch of friends who like to ride bikes and drink beer. So we decided to write stories about all the dumb stuff we did.
So you drink first and then ride, or you ride and then drink?
You don't discriminate.
Oh, okay. Or does not matter.
Yeah.
and you, all of you made up this website, or is this like your website and you share the stories?
A buddy of mine started it about 13 years ago, and then a few years ago he handed it off to me, and so I'm running with it from here.
Wow, and you said that 13 years ago, I didn't even know there was a thing called a blog, and you said that you guys actually had to hard code the HTML yourselves.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So it was quite a task.
Wow. And how is it that it was handed over to you? Like, what did you like make it more rated R than it already was, or
No.
what have you done?
It originally started out with the purpose of bikes, boobs, and booze, and those are our three tenets. And
in that order?
Well, we can mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
Preferably all at the same time. And so, we used to have some adult content along with our cycling content, and we try and report on the seedy underbelly of cycling in the United States and some abroad, and stuff the mainstream media doesn't cover.
Sure.
And all our just misadventures that we have as a bunch of crazy friends.
Wow.
Riding bikes.
What happened to the original guy who was working? Did he get married and like get a mortgage and stuff like that?
Oh, he had always been married, but then he actually went back to school and started raising his family, and just wasn't riding as much. So if you're not riding, you don't have stories to tell, and
Right.
I'm sure that's going to happen to me eventually, and I have the next generation ready to take over when that does.
Wow.
So just to keep it going.
And you had said, this is crazy, you had said that that drunkcyclist.com is the world's longest running cycling blog.
Yeah. On the internet, yeah.
Wow.
As far as we know, nobody's ever argued that point. In 13 years, it's a pretty long time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we just rolled our 13th year on the 18th of September.
Wow, which is actually coming up. I don't even know what day it is.
Passed, yeah.
Sorry.
We've been on vacation a while.
Chris doesn't know that much about the Nomadic Family yet, but he doesn't know. We haven't had a cell phone in 2.5 years. We have no idea what the hell it is, what day, what year. Like, we were lying in a hostel in where the airport is. Duna.
Bundy.
Started with D. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm lying in bed next to Soleil, my youngest, and we're cuddling, and there's a sign there. There's a sign, and it says, Manang Calendar 2058. And I'm like, whoa, Soleil, I think we've missed something. I think we've tesseracted into the future.
Yeah, I found out the Nepali calendar is a couple years ahead.
Yeah, it was an old calendar.
Yeah.
It was like 2058, and I'm like, whoa. I told my dog, I'm like, should we look out the window? So you're here. So you cycle in Mexico a lot, and now you're in Nepal.
Yeah.
And I've heard stories of you cycling in Colorado, and what do? You go around the world and ride your bike?
Yeah, I just want to ride my bicycle on trails in remote and beautiful places and see things that 99.9% of the human population has never seen from the seat of a bicycle.
Wow.
And it's just a drag and a chase. I just want to go and see and experience. And for me to be here, I saw a National Geographic episode or a magazine or something, or like a book. It was some coffee table book on my grandparents' coffee table when I was 15 years old, of like the trek to Everest Base Camp.
Oh my god.
And I was just starting to become addicted to riding mountain bikes, and I was like, someday I'm gonna ride there. And I'm 35 now, so it took a little while.
Oh my god.
But now I'm here and doing like an abridged version of the Annapurna Circuit.
Wow.
And then maybe some other adventures afterwards when I finish.
That's crazy. So when you were 15, you saw this book on your grandparents' coffee table, and you're like, I'm going to do that one day, and you did it.
Yeah.
You know, we're really big at the Nomadic Family. We're really big at sharing that idea that if you have a dream, you can make it come true. And most of the reasons that we don't make our dreams come true is that we're scared and we make up excuses.
Exactly.
And like, you can do all this crazy shit. You just have to say, I'm going to do this crazy shit, and you just make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want it, you'll make it happen. If you really want it, you make it happen. If you don't, you make an excuse. That's
Right.
a tenet I've stuck to for a long time. It's
Is
worked.
that go with the boobs and bikes?
Yeah, that's mine.
And you know what else? A lot of people assume that we are rich. And when I see families travel the world, I assume they're rich. And we are so, like, I can't tell you how many holes I have in my clothing, you know? But, like, you don't need money to make these dreams come true.
No,
You
no.
really don't.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I left Kathmandu with $300 in my pocket, and I think I still have over 200 left.
Yeah.
Like I just.
And this guy's eating up a storm. I'm watching him.
I'm addicted to momos.
Oh my god. What did you have to yak momo?
Yak momo.
I was upset. I'm like, I didn't know people eat the yaks.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, now that we've had dog, we
Yes.
will move on to the yak. You know, the last hostel we were at, they had a yak head, and they, instead of the eyeballs, they put these orange light bulbs in. Yeah, she was like kind of a tea house Nazi, but we thought like it would be kind of cool if you like, you know, turn on the, what's the word we used? Anyway, it was kind of cool if you turn on the yak at night, like that'd be kind of scary.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, like a yak with orange.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, she didn't.
Oh.
She didn't like us very much.
Oh.
Yeah, we should have maybe got the yak memo. So, what has been the craziest adventure, a biking adventure you've ever been on?
I've said this before in other interviews, and I'll still say it's true. Myself and three of my friends, we took the bus down to Mexico from Arizona,
Okay.
and with these fat tire bicycles that are made to ride on sand and snow, and we rode home to Arizona 6 days along the Sea of Cortez, along the East Coast, all on the beach in the sand. It was probably the most difficult thing I've ever done.
I didn't know you can ride a bike on sand.
Yeah, with the really fat tires, and you stay right where the sand is still wet a little bit,
Wow.
and right when the tide goes out and it's all packed down. And
Wow.
yeah, I think that was the hardest thing I've ever done until probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow he's doing Nepalese flat. We've talked about this before. Nepalese flat. Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
gonna do the Throng Fest tomorrow?
No, I'm gonna go to Talicho Lake,
Oh.
and then I'll camp out at the lake one night, and then I'll go up to a pass. It's 5,100 meters, and that'll be the high point of the trip,
Wow.
literally.
Yeah. Literally.
And then it's all downhill into Jump Sum for about 3.5 hours.
Wow. And then you're gonna do the hot springs after Jump Sum.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're drooling over these hot springs.
and visit the Apple Brandy Distillery in Marfa. That's what I'm told I have to see.
Oh.
So I guess Mustang is crazy about apples. Apple brandy.
Apple brandy.
Mhm.
Brandy, like brandy.
Yeah,
Brandy.
yeah.
Oh.
Like booze. Yeah.
Oh, so that would fit in with bikes, boobs, and
And
booze.
booze, yeah.
Good. So you have to keep loyal to your.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, why are we talking to the drunk cyclist?
And I heard it's once we get over the mountains, it's much more desert like over there as well. And I'm looking forward to some familiar territory.
Arizona. Yeah. By the way, we loved Sedona. Oh my God.
No. It's a mountain bike paradise as well.
Wow, I can. You know, my husband was into mountain biking for a while, and one day he comes home, and he knocks on the door barely. He comes home and he's covered in mud and blood, and he's torn. His clothing is torn, and he like looks at me and he just bursts into tears. I'm like, what happened? And he was like on this cliff. He was about to go down. You're not supposed to hesitate. You're supposed to like put your weight a certain way, and I don't even understand. So he like hesitated for that second you're not supposed to, and he crashed in the rain. No, he crashed, fell off a bridge, got torn up pieces. The second he landed, it was like one of those movies, it started raining. So he comes home like, like a zombie. What's the most dangerous thing you've ever done, Chris? Like, what was the most scariest or most dangerous moment you've had on your bike?
Gosh, there's so many.
Intoxicated or non-intoxicated? Do they have to be real dangerous, or could they be imaginary?
I've had some, near some hypothermia issues in the
Wow.
rain and snow, going over mountain passes in the Pyrenees. That was pretty scary.
Where's the Pyrenees?
In Spain, on
In
the
Spain.
border of Spain and France.
Oh my god.
And then, there's a really crazy stream crossing about 3 days ago where the trekkers took the trail, and all the porters told me that it would be no good for cycle. So I took the road, the Jeep road.
Damn porters.
And and the road was washed out because we're just fresh out of the monsoon.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was, a waterfall on this side. It was really tranquil and serene. It was right in a little.
With that cliff coming down.
Yeah, and that was pretty terrifying with the bike, with the luggage, and being by myself. And so that was probably the sketchiest part of this trip so far.
And it was a cliff, and if I remember correctly, it was probably a cliff that fell maybe 8 stories, 10 stories.
Easily, yeah.
And like there was no stopping point. It was like you fall and you fall, like that's it, and you fall into the river and you're gone.
So that was pretty intense
scary.
by myself, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of put myself in these situations, and I never really feel sketchy until
Afterwards.
Like I was
what
like,
the hell was I doing?
I really pulled that one off. So yeah, and it'd be hard to narrow one down. It's been 20 years of backcountry exploring. So.
Wow, it's amazing. You also have, like, something I really liked. We talked a little bit about a program that you guys run that you say have a dual message of wellness and literacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, what an inspirational thing for you to give children is wellness and literacy. Tell us, what is that program? If I want to read about it, where do I
absolutely.
go?
It's called Ride for Reading,
Okay.
and I believe it's rideforreading.org.
Ride for Reading. Okay, Ride for Reading.
Ride for Reading, and it's actually run by this gentleman named Matthew. He's a super good guy, and we just know him through cycling circles. It's like, us bicycle addicts are one big family. And kind of like Israelis.
But you're not. Are you as loud? Do you make as much noise, and do you use your hands as much?
Kind of. When we get together in a parking lot, we make quite a ruckus.
Okay.
And he came up with this really great idea that he was a school teacher, and he realized that through statistics or whatever, that kids in America don't own books. Like,
why would they when they can do everything they want on a screen?
Yeah, and I don't know what it was. Maybe 1 in 5 children in America own a book. Just a book, a solid book.
That's so upsetting.
And since we're all cycling nuts and we're all kind of nerdy, like I'm a chemist in my day job, and
that's awesome.
I found out about Nepal by reading a book, and I learned about this I learned how to read a map through a book,
Absolutely.
And so he came up with an idea to deliver books to schools by bicycle.
By bicycle.
So we get all donated books, and it happens all over the country now. We have a Ride for Reading Day in May, and I don't really like children, which is really bizarre. Like I'm kind of allergic. Like I don't know how.
But you were nice to my kids tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can relate for like a minute.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you were laughing like 4 for like 4 or 5 minutes.
I can. It's okay until they start to cry or moan or whatever.
Right. But mommy,
yeah. I just don't. I never had younger siblings, really young or anything, so I don't know how to handle them.
Yeah.
I have no need to breed in my life, but after I did.
We'll just mark our territory.
Yeah, but after doing one of these book deliveries last year and seeing like the excitement and feeling just like the most wholesome rock star in the world right into the schoolyard with all the kids in the recess yard, and you're hauling all these books through trailers and in bags and in baskets, and we did it in Las Vegas during one of our trade shows, bicycling trade shows, and the school was in the shadow of all the big casinos, underneath the shadow of the stratosphere, and there's all these little kids, I don't know, maybe like, 2nd, 3rd grade, and they all lined up and gave us high fives as we went in the schoolyard and screaming so loud.
And you're giving me goosebumps.
Yeah, it was probably one of the most moving things that I've ever done, and up until that point I've never really volunteered or done anything like that, and now I just can't get enough. Like I helped organize one in Tempe, Arizona, where I live. And we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again. And probably the only thing I miss about not being home right now, is that I missed the Las Vegas delivery a couple days ago. So I hope you guys did good.
Yes, I'm sure you did. Oh, I'm like about to cry. That's so beautiful. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a really great program. So, and check it out. Rideforreading.com or .org. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
But
And we can also find it on your site. Is there a link to
we
them?
can link to the site through drunkcyclist.com.
Okay, so either drunkcyclist.com find it, or you can look up Ride for Reading, which is awesome because, we at the Nomadic Family, we talk about a lot of things that are unconventional, and we talk a lot about unmodern parenting, and the idea that we think kids are supposed to fall off of bikes and fall out of trees, and they don't do that anymore. And we think that if we turned off screens and let kids stop sitting in a classroom all day and then have a screen in their hands all day, that maybe they'd get more in touch with their bodies and more in touch with nature, and they'd read a book. Because books are awfully boring when you have things flash in your face all day.
Exactly.
And we are definitely raising our children and bringing awareness to the idea of let kids get bored. You don't have to entertain children all the time, and let them go outside and get in trouble and get dirty, and let them use their bodies and use nature and play with rocks and read books and all these unmodern things. And you bring this, and I'm like, how beautiful is it that there are more people out there that are really trying to bring home a message that these unmodern things, like riding a bike, is so unmodern.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing for the body, for the soul, for the mind, for the environment. I mean, it's what you see on a bicycle is completely different than what you'd see in any other mode of transportation.
Absolutely. The windows are always down.
Exactly. You're down there. You're part of Earth. You're not zipping through it, and it's just so beautiful because you are bringing a message of, hey, let's connect to something of simpler.
Yeah.
A bike is a simple, axle, wheelie, whatever. It's not this complicated modern whatever, and I love that.
Yeah, and the whole ride up, especially in the jungle where there was more kids, they just all swarmed me, and they all wanted to ride my bike, and they couldn't reach the pedals. So I made sure that I just for a second, at least give each one of them a couple seconds of my time, threw them up on the handlebars and wheel them down the street, and then they're gonna remember, that it got the word spread from town to town about Cycle Man. And especially I got a little ill and had to slow down my trip, and all the porters and the mule trains, and I don't know how the word spread, but people knew I was coming before I even got there, and they'd be like, "Oh, Cycle Man, we've been waiting for you." And so now the kids are all like, "Cycle Man, Cycle Man."
Oh, beautiful.
So it's been a really good journey. So, but yeah, just to put the kids on the bike, and maybe they'll save up, or beg their parents for a bike, and you don't see many bicycles up here, and I understand why. It's pretty remote.
It's tough terrain. It's rough terrain.
Pretty remote, but if there's any people that are tough enough to ride a bike up here, it's the Nepali.
Oh my God! Did you see what some of these women carry?
Yeah, cords of wood on their forehead.
Some of these mountain women, I saw women today. They were carrying slabs of wood. They were, I don't know, a story and a half high, 10 slabs each. Yeah. Women. That's scary.
Coming into Chame, everybody was planing boards and beams.
Yes.
And they were carrying these 20-foot long beams. Yes. And
those women.
Yeah, and at one point there was maybe a 13-year-old boy, and I came up around him. I looked at it. I expected to see an old man because he was all hunched over and small. Yeah. And I looked over and it's just a kid. And there was another guy behind him, and he goes, "That's my father. I have to beat him." And they're carrying these huge beams, just using nothing but a piece of rope and a little pad across their forehead. And from every town, you see the little kids carrying bags of sand on their head. Yeah. And then it's they're practicing to be porters and to carry their loads, and already at a very young age.
I saw a man, I think on day 4 of our hike, and he literally had a washing machine. And above the washing machine, there was at least 4 or 5 other boxes of stuff. It's not enough that he carried a washing machine. He had above the washing machine, I'm serious, 4 bulk, and it wasn't Pringles, it was heavy stuff.
I believe it. I mean, that's probably been the most
crazy,
impressive thing. I was emailing back and forth with a buddy back in Arizona the other day, and he said, "What's the most mind-blowing thing that you've seen since you've been in Nepal?" And he's like, "The mountains, with the rivers." Honestly, the feats of strength by the Nepali have been just amazing. The power to weight ratio is absolutely unbelievable.
And it's crazy. I must bring this up because we talked about wellness. If you look at the United States, I bet you, and I don't know the statistics, but probably 85 to 95% of Americans suffer from back pain. And because of misalignment and a sedentary lifestyle. And you look at these people and you're like, they're probably abusing themselves, and I bet you that almost none of them suffer from back
Yeah,
pain.
they would run circles around us.
Yeah, I mean, you see old people and young people and doing these amazing things. Of course, they're hurting themselves, and I bet you none of them suffer from what we do.
They also have a really good pace. And, you know, the tea houses are spaced out enough that they all stop and have tea, they take a nap, and they carry on their way. You know,
Yeah.
it's
In their flip-flops.
Yeah, in their flip-flops. I've really grown to like that pace. You know, I've been drinking a lot of tea and taking a lot of naps during the day. So
We met you in one of the tea houses. You're like, yeah, well, last place it was 30 cents. You know, now it's up to 45. You're like,
There's inflation with altitude. It's like directly proportional.
you're like a tea expert here. Yeah, it is a good way of life.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
So.
Wow. You know what? I have like a billion more questions, but I think that my family's gonna kill me. We're supposed to be watching a family movie tonight,
I
and
have to be up at dawn to go suffer in the mountains.
What time do you have a clock, or you get up?
Yeah, 5:00. So,
Yeah?
So I'll be up at 5 and hopefully on the pedals by 6.
Wow. See, we do that in theory also. We do get up at 5, but the time, there's 13 of us. It's a crazy, yeah. I mean, the kids are always the excuse, but the 5 of us, by the time we get moving, is ridiculous. And then we get the film crew, and then we get the porters, and it takes a while to get the kids out of bed. And you can understand, it's cold.
Yeah.
Who wants to get up?
It's uncomfortable. And you're sore, and like sleeping bag is really warm.
Very warm. You said minus 30?
Just 20 actually.
Oh.
So, but it's still really warm.
Wow.
Especially in that nice little room.
It's a nice room. It's surprisingly well insulated.
Yeah.
Our last room looked the same, but all the air came through. There was no insulation, so every time the wind blew, it went through the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awful. Awesome. So last question, life. Last question. Sorry. That came out wrong. Last question. What do you feel for you is the secret of happiness? What makes you happy in life?
I realize we're getting so deep.
I know, it's always the last question, but just so you know, some people have answered whiskey, some people have, some people have answered lucky marriage number 7, some people actually,
My happiness is tired legs and a beautiful view, and so I'm gonna go find some happiness tomorrow.
Wow.
That's about it.
That's awesome. So tired legs and a beautiful view.
Yep.
Why did I take that to a sexual place already? I'm like, oh, well, what kind of view?
It can happen as well.
You did say boobs, bikes, and what's the third one? Awesome. If you would like to learn more about Chris and their pretty impressive and amazing online world, and seriously, all this really awesome information you're bringing, I think that a lot of the things we find today are depressing and negative and blah, 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 and full of fear, like we talked about at dinner. And what you bring is laughter and joy and being in awe and new worlds
Just
and
relax,
keeping
have
active.
a beer, and go ride your bike. It's the simplest thing we've done since we were a little kid.
Yeah.
And it brings the same joy now as it did then. You just have to go do it.
Exactly. And that's I think if all of us could just, like you said, take a beer, relax, ride a bike, chill out, just look around what's going on around you without all those borders protecting you. Just be out there. Yeah.
Amazing what can happen.
Crazy stuff can happen. So this is cool. So the drunk cyclist and the nomadic family have met. How cool is that?
Collision of the blogospheres.
And they're so opposite in some ways because the dynamics, you're the boobs beer and whatever, and it wouldn't work with the nomadic family, but the messages, a lot of them are the same.
Yeah.
Go out there, have fun.
Just have fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it's work to fund the fun. That's pretty much what we're all on the same page, and just go see something new, something you've never seen before. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It could be around the block. It could be that store, that restaurant you've never gone to. It could be that hill you never stood on top of. Just go do it.
Just go do
And
it.
it could change your life.
Absolutely. Thank you. Oh my God. Okay, we're really gonna stop. People are like, well, you said that 4 times. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Safe travels.
Thank you. Namaste.